Unbelievable, absolutely breathtaking and totally mental. It's Tewatia's night at the CCI. We thought this game was going the Gujarat Titans' way after 16, 17 overs. Then Arshdeep Singh pulled it back. Then they got wickets. Shubman Gill was dismissed of a full toss. It all came down to 13 of 3, which then became 12 of 2, and Tewatia has hit a 6 and a 6 of Oden Smith to give the Titans their third win out of 3. There is so much to talk about on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Time Out, powered by IQ 9 5G. Carlos Brathwaite knows what it's like to hit 4 sixes on the trot. Ravi Shastri knows what it's like to hit 6 sixes on the trot. But have they ever done it? 2 of 2 with their second and third ball to finish a game. Ravi Shastri, first thoughts.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, that match. I mean, the way the pendulum swung one side to the other. Easy. Gujarat, like you mentioned, 15th over, 16th over. You've got a player batting on 98 there, 96 there. Captain batting beautifully.
Yes.
Suddenly, 2 wickets in 3 balls. The game changes on its head. A good over, from Akshdeep. And then come the last overs, the balance shifts again, to the other side, to Punjab. And with 3 balls left, I think that's where there was a brain fade. As simple as that, because there was absolutely no need to throw that ball. 13 would have been needed. Even 2 sixes wouldn't have been done the job, maybe a super over. But 2 magnificent shots. Let's not take it. You might want to criticize the bowler as much as you want, but put yourself as a batsman in that situation. David Miller has done it many times. He couldn't do it. He found it hard to, you struggle with your timing when you first come in. But to hit the sweet spot of the bat twice,
yes,
in those circumstances, no wonder the dugout was on the ground, lifting him up. Fabulous stuff. He's done it in the IPL before. He did it with Cottrell, hitting him for 5 sixes. And now it's another West Indian, who's got to taste Tewatia. 2 sixes of 2 balls.
Unbelievable. And like I said, it was his second and third ball. That is just remarkable. Carlos Brathwaite's had a moment. I'm sure there will be a couple of messages sent to Oden Smith tonight. You've had a moment. You've heard Ravi's first thoughts. I'd like yours, and I'd like you to take me through those last 2 balls. Carlos.
First 3 balls in the CPL already. So the answer to that is yes. But they were as impressive as those 2, unfortunately for Oden Smith. Running through the last over, I thought he started very well. I didn't think the first one was a wide. And then he's in a situation where the wide Yorker is working. Even as he missed his length, one got slapped to extra cover, but it was 1. And he goes short into the wicket, which was the first mistake in my opinion. And he's had situations in the CPL where he would have seen guys run up and bowl 8 and 9 ball overs just trying to hit the wide line, because an extra ball and single is 1 for the wide, and a single off the extra ball, that's 2 runs off potentially 1 ball. It always beats getting hit for 4 or getting hit for 6. So I thought going short and slower ball was the wrong decision there. It comes down nicely to 13 off 3. You get away with it. Miller slaps the ball back to you. He's been struggling. No reason to go for the run out. Unfortunately, he did. I mean, it's an excitable moment. You hit the stumps, batsman is gone, and you're up in arms again. But it was unnecessary. And then I watching it and I thinking 13 off 3. If you get it for 2 sixes, it is at least a super over. You cannot lose the game. And so said, so done. I think balls 5 and 6, you just have to give it to Tewatia. I would slate Oden Smith for what happened in the first 4 balls and those 2 mistakes, but you can't take anything away from the batsman for balls 5 and 6. Sensational striking, got into a very good position, and when you come out to bat and you're facing your second and third ball to try to win the game, and the pressure is on to hit 2 sixes, is a different mindset altogether. And he had the wherewithal, he had the skill, and ultimately he had the calmness to execute under pressure for his team. So you have to give Tawati plaudits. Sensational stuff by him.
Okay, let's those last two balls are in itself a talking point, right? So let me put Ravi Shastri in Tewatia's shoes, shall I? And ask him just the skill needed, the anticipation needed to. Well, we're technically looking at a right arm over fast bowler bowling across you as a left-hander. You've only faced one ball. Just take me through what Tewatia has done to just pull off those two shots.
He's anticipating. He's looking to read and outthink the bowler. He's thinking in his mind, I expect him to bowl here, so let me get into a position early, so that I'm closer to the line of the ball and then I'm allowed to swing, where I want to swing. He had chosen his spot. His spot was between long on and deep mid wicket or straight because of the angle he was bowling. Now, from Odean Smith's point of view, what he could have done was bowl wide. Even if it was from around the wicket, could have bowled wide and set a field on that side. But by bowling towards him straight in the slot, he allowed him 2 sixes there. Because the last ball as well, if you see, he's walked across his stumps, anticipating Odean Smith to bowl exactly where he wanted him to bowl. And it was right in the arc. And credit must be given to him. But I think even in that earlier in the over, when he attempted a slower ball to Miller and went for 4, after getting both the batsmen out, one run out, I mean, surely a better delivery at that stage, either a Yorker or, something of that sort. That would have really allowed the pressure to mount. But you learn, you live, you learn. That's all you can say.
Now let me bisect that into just the last ball. Let's say you are Odean Smith's captain and you've seen that ball go for 6 or 1. The odds are still very much in favour of the bowler. What is it that you're going and talking to Odean Smith about? I don't know if Mayank went up to him and had a word. It seemed very quick.
Yeah.
I've seen MS Dhoni slow the game down in these situations. Would you have done something differently?
It has to be away from his arms. It has to be away from the stumps.
At the expense of a wide doesn't matter.
Wide doesn't matter. If he hits you over extra cover for 6, fine.
Good on him.
Yeah, but giving him in his slot where he's hit you earlier, was, you're not making the batsman do anything special. But credit must be given to the batsman to realize where he's going to bowl the balls by moving across. And then to hit the sweet spot of the bat. See, to come there and play 2 balls and to hit both in the middle and hit the ball out of the ground, I don't care where the bowler bowls. Must give credit to the batsman. What he should have done, Odean Smith, was kept it away.
Last thing before I go to Carlos, forgive me for getting too technical. That shot, seems like it's come with the middle. You're seeing all of the bat. Doesn't look like a slog. What sort of shot is that?
Clean. It's a proper cricketing shot. He just swung through the line.
Not a slog.
Not a slog at all. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Carlos Brathwaite. If you're the bowler, you've bowled that one ball that's gone for 6. So you clearly know that's Tewatia's liking. You've seen this before. I'm sure there's enough data and whatnot. Captain may be saying it in your ear too. What's Odean Smith thinking at that point? What's he trying to do on the last ball, Carlos? Is he trying to bowl that ball outside, or is he just under so much pressure that he's hoping he just lands it? And because the odds are still in favour of him, hopefully the batter won't hit it. What's Odean Smith thinking going into that last ball? What's he got wrong?
I think he's still trying to hit the wide line. I honestly think he's still trying to hit the wide line. But I think the pressure of the game, the pressure of the situation, he spoke earlier about, not bowling well and not feeling in the best rhythm. And all the negative thoughts started to come back. It also felt quite quick. Heard you guys mention earlier about, did Mayank come and slow it down? Sometimes you just walk up to him and ask him, what are you having for dinner? Make a little bit of a chuckle. All of a sudden, that pressure dissipates. It still comes back when you need to bowl that last ball, but at least for a 3 to 5 second period, you can breathe, you can think clearly. When you're under pressure, you stop breathing, no blood or oxygen goes to the brain, and first thing you do is panic. The way to get rid of that panic is to have a clear thought. What is the plan? Even if everyone knows the plan, just reiterate the plan verbally and allow my brain to process what I'm about to run up and do. He's good enough to do it. He's done it in the CPL. He's done it for the West Indies. And I don't know what the conversation was, if any, but I want to know that Mike went up to him and said, hit the wide line, even if it is a wide, we'll take that. Hit the wide line. And I just felt, as soon as I saw him bowl that slow ball earlier in the over, I just felt, mm-mm.
Yeah.
For some reason, it just had a bad vibe about it. And you know what? I'm happy though that he's gone through this on the big stage. I think West Indies will be a lot wiser for it. West Indies will now have a player who's gone through something um, that can be career ending. It won't be for him, he's good enough, but he now has to learn from this, and it's an experience that he will learn from. And if he does come out the other end, West Indies will be on the verge of having another death bowler that they can count upon.
Something to add to that?
I'm just saying, Odean Smith we're thinking of. I'm just trying to think what Anil Kumble must be thinking. Because when you see last year's IPL, the number of matches, at least, I mean, easy playoffs for Kings 11. A number of matches they lost in that last over. Wasn't all, the game changing in that last over. I mean, I can count 4 or 5 matches, and it's difficult, man. It's tough pill to swallow. It's, till you're across the line, you'll be sitting there and thinking, we're not across the line. It's a real tough pill, this one.
Seems like an obvious question, but I'll get it out of the way. He was the best option to bowl the 20th over, right? Because the only other one was Liam Livingstone.
Yeah, he had
no
to
doubt.
bowl. No question. He had to bowl that last over. And like Carlos said, from the beginning, someone should have just whispered, this is your line in this over.
Yeah.
Just stick to that ball after ball. If you can bowl the odd Yorker into the stumps, that's fine. But otherwise, 80% of the time, that's your line. You can't be hit over square leg for 6. I mean, for 4 with a slower ball at that stage. With a left-hander batting. You hit that tram line on a consistent basis. 18 to get. In that innings, not a single over has gone for more than 14.
Yes.
And that over has gone for 18 because, you've done something totally different.
Yeah. In fairness, we didn't have we were only watching it from the camera angles that you're watching it from. But it didn't look like we had Mayank Agarwal go up to him a lot, or Rabada, senior bowler, go up to him a lot to talk to him. Do you feel somewhere that could have helped if it didn't happen?
Definitely. Even before he played those first 2 balls, for the feeling I got from here was watching it. It was that they were quite happy that Miller was off strike.
Yeah.
So there ended the conversation, where a seasoned captain would have actually gone there and said, okay, this is a new player, this is his strength, and this is where we want you to bowl. It was as if they'd totally forgotten about who was on strike and what is his strength.
And that this game could have still been lost. If not after Miller's strange events, certainly after that first 6, you felt maybe you could have seen something more animated from Punjab. We didn't see it. Carlos makes the point. Perhaps slow it down. Carlos, one question though on Odean Smith. You say he's done this in the CPL. Is there something that makes things harder to execute in the IPL? I mean, there's pressure, there are packed houses, there are crowds and whatnot. Is there something that just stops bowlers from executing as well as they do in other leagues than in the IPL?
Not necessarily. I just think it's more pressure. So you say packed crowds. There's also price tags. I don't think any of that necessarily came down to it today. But the CPL is his local leagues. He knows all of the players. So let's say 2 local players are batting, or Miller and a local player in Tawatia. He knows Tawatia. He grew up playing against Tawatia or watching Tawatia. He would know by default, I can't miss. Obviously, he would still be privy to see Tawatia smash Cottrell for 5 sixes if he was following IPL then, and he would know that he's dangerous. But for some reason, the unknown quantity, you can get a bit complacent. I don't know if that's the case with him. I don't know if it was just pressure. But in your local league, you almost know all the players or have an idea of all the players. When you come to a foreign league, as he is in the IPL, sometimes that local player can be an unknown quantity. I don't think it is that in this case, but the pressure and the situation, and I guess for him not being in the type of rhythm and form that he was in, would have compounded what was already a tricky situation that should have been better handled and executed.
Okay, now before I wrap up the chat of the last over, since Carlos brought it up, he said the first ball should not have been a wide in a game where 1-1 run matters. Let's ask Ravi Shastri. We didn't get to see a replay. I don't blame the broadcaster. So much happened. Pandya was run out next ball. There was 4s and 6s, so we have no idea. Instinctively on live, what did you think? First ball wide, yes or no?
Harsh call. Very, very harsh. No question about that. Just seeing it.
All right, fair enough. But let's go back now because there were so many moments, so many incidents. Shubman Gill. Not often that you make a 96 of 59. At one stage, looked like he was easily striking near to 200. Eventually, he's ended at a strike rate over 160. And yet we spend the bulk of our post-match show discussing 2 balls or 3 balls of the last over. Kept them in the game effectively. He thought at one stage we thought he'll cruise home. What an innings.
Batted beautifully again. Really, really, beautifully. The way he times the ball, some of the shots he plays with the back foot, the placement, the power, the ability to hit in front of square, anything short, makes him a standout player. He's one of the best young players in the world. And, people would love to pay money to watch him bat, when in full flow. And he's hit some form. His last 2 innings, he's striking it beautifully. And like I've said time and time again, when you have an opener in form and getting runs on a consistent basis, your team will move. Yes. Your team will move up the table and, be in a great position to make it to the playoffs. So from Gujarat's point of view, they'll hope that Shubman just carries on because like we've said time and time again, very few dot balls when he plays. He rotates the strike beautifully. So he's a busy player and has the ability to put the bad ball away.
This kind of precision with placement, 90, 80, 90 without breaking a sweat, reminds you of someone in his prime? Virat Kohli?
Virat at his
Ground
prime,
shots, yeah,
and along the ground, power, and making it look easy. Yeah.
Sets him up for a 600-700 run season, you think? This kind of start, he got an 80 odd, which in the last game, which was his highest IPL score. He's better that a game later. This is Shubman Gill's season?
Easy. If, as an opener, if he strikes it the way it is, and these Mumbai tracks will suit him. It's not the slow, low turning tracks. This is tracks with bounce. He's a tall player. He's upright. He's got great shots of the back foot. Good hands. And, he'll be stupid to waste this form. He's in prime form.
Halfway stage and more than that, Carlos, it felt like Gujarat are going to do this easy. Break down the Punjab Kings bowling plans in the first 10 to 15 overs. It looked so easy. It looked like they were going to have to wait for a wicket and eventually that's what happened. Did Punjab not have the bowling? Did they not have the plan? Did they not execute the plan? What do you make of how easily Gujarat did it in the first 15?
I think they came up against a good Shubman Gill in good form. They also came up against a youngster who had nothing, no scars, no bad form. Just go out there and express yourself and execute. I think once they got it together and kind of slowed the scoring down, the youngster had a real good start but ended up scoring 30 odd off 30 balls. So once they were able to create a bit of pressure and pull the game back slightly, they were always in with a shout. They were always 1 or 2 wickets away. That powerhouse middle order of Miller, Tawatia, and Hardik never got in early enough that they could play some balls and get themselves in and be ready to tee off. You're thinking if a Hardik Pandya was in a similar position to Shubman Gill or got a similar start that the youngster got 30 off 30 balls, he would have been in a much better position to power home the game. But as it worked out, I guess that partnership with Gill and the youngster went on a bit longer than they'd want and kind of helped Punjab to wrestle back some of the momentum bowling-wise.
Is this Punjab's best bowling attack, Ravi? Because when they don't get the early wickets that they got the other day against Chennai, it seemed like it did have the penetration.
Yeah, but for that over from Arshdeep, they would have been in big trouble. Big trouble. This match would have been over with maybe 10 balls to spare.
Let's talk about that Arshdeep over. I mean, you see a none for 30 odd and you think, right, he's not had a good day or he's not got wickets. But what an over that was when the equation was 37 needed of 3 and it became 32 of 2.
He showed great character, good skills in executing what he had planned. And he brought them right back into the game in those 2 overs.
Excellent from Arshdeep Singh. Then you think, let's get a quick word on Sai Sudarshan as well. These guys tend to pop up. Number 3,
Yeah,
like what you saw.
Young, but he'll gain from this experience. You know, he was batting with a guy in prime form and making it look easy. But, you know, early signs of promise.
All right. Final question for both Carlos and Ravi. Carlos, when you win games like this early in the season, 3 out of 3 now for the Titans, does it just tell you how your season's going to go?
Not necessarily, but it's a good sign to call upon. Later in the season, there will be times when they can need 10 off 2 and 8 off 2, and you think you pull from the memory bank. We are here and we have done it already and we can do it again. And sometimes people say, yeah, we believe till the end. And that is more lip service than anything else. When you actually do it, you have something to pull from, a proper, real memory to pull from. And you find teams that find ways to get over the line. They instill a sense of confidence and a sense of how to win within them. And that in itself is a skill. A lot of teams say, you know, winning is a habit, losing is a habit as well. So you want to catch that habit or the right habit as early as possible. And it seems as though Gujarat has found the winning habit.
Ravi, if you were in that Gujarat Titans coaching camp, you have this sort of win, what do you think it does for you?
You'll be happy, but you won't relax one bit. You know, you will tell yourselves that, you know, we are still not at our best and we are winning. You know, there's plenty of room for improvement. It's still early days in the season. You got 14 matches to play, you know, before you know whether you're in the playoffs or not, right? So it's only another 11 to go. So if we can tighten up from here and bring our A game to the party, you know, another 5 wins will do the job.
Okay. Now, before I wrap up, though, so many incidents in this game and so many moments. I want Ravi and Carlos to pick what they think was the most decisive. It's easy to say the last 2 balls. There's so much that happened in this game. Punjab could have got 210. They ended up with 190. They could have got 160, but they ended up with 190. There's that over from Rashid Khan that he got Livingston and Shahrukh. Then you look at the second innings. There were so many different moments there too. I want Carlos and Ravi to just pick the most decisive moment of this game. Carlos, you could go first. Most decisive moment of this game. Are we looking at the last over or are you looking at something earlier?
Can we look at the last over or those last 2 balls embargoed?
No, if you think everything else was, you know, neutralized by what the equation came down to the last 3 balls, then fair enough. Are you saying the last over and the last 3 balls decided this?
Yeah, I think we would all say that, but I can not take the easy option. I can go with the Rashid Khan over because I felt as though with 2 power hitters in, the opposition's main strike bowler back for his last over. The smart cricketing thing to do would be to knock in for 6 singles. If you get a bad ball, you put it away, but you don't risk your wicket and leave 18, 24 balls out there, which ultimately stopped them from getting the extra 20 runs, in my opinion.
Ravi, most decisive part of the game.
Since you want me to forget Orient Smith in the
I
end.
don't want you to.
No, you said last 2 balls, so you want me to forget him there, then his dismissal.
Right.
First ball, you know, when there was absolutely no need, they had lost a wicket, where that again, you know, shifted the balance in the game.
Excellent. It's been a night to forget, or maybe a night to remember for Orient Smith. As Carlos says, he only gets better from this. Let's have a look at the Maruti Suzuki Driving School poll of the day before we wrap things up on what's been a thrilling night. Which bowler would have conceded the most runs? Gee, we expected the Brabant Stadium to throw up this kind of game, and 51% of you said Orient Smith. Just running through that list, and it looked like Rahul Chahar, who's gone for 41, funny enough, is the most expensive bowler just in terms of runs. So most runs conceded by Rahul Chahar today. Didn't bowl a bad over. There was that one over where he could have had both Hardik and Shubman Gill. But again, there have been so many moments we've not been able to talk about that. But what a game, what a night it's been. Ravi Shastri, whenever you're in studio with us, we get a cracker. Yeah, that was fun.
That's why the IPL is
what it is.
What it is, you know. Last ball finishes, exciting games, and you know, sets it up nicely.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ravi. Always a pleasure for your time and your thoughts. Carlos Brathwaite, thank you very much. I think you've earned a well-deserved rest. You had quite the start to this year's tournament, so enjoy the weekend, and we will see you back very soon as well. In fact, I think Carlos is on with us on Sunday, so we'll see him then. And thank you. Please continue following our conversations around these thrillers in the IPL on Maruti Suzuki presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Time Out, powered by IQ 9 5G. Big 4 games coming up over the weekend. Look forward to your company then. Saturday, 3 p.m., just after the toss, if you're in India, for Chennai versus Sunrisers. Someone has to pick up points in that game. Then we've got the delicious prospect of Mumbai-Bangalore. Again, a winless Mumbai against RCB, who are looking good and will have Glenn Maxwell. So join us tomorrow. Until then, what a night for the Titans. Good night.